Hey everybody, what's up? I thought I'd kind of read off a little bit of an article here, if you will, that I found on DA. Now the person that did this, we're just going to call him DOS, D-O-S. And he's a very good artist, I will say that. Check him out, I will provide the link down below. And I apologize to him and anybody else in advance for reading this. But this is his opinion. This is DOS's opinion on Ian Flynn's current state, the comics, and etc. He posted this, I'd say about 15, 16 hours ago. Go figure. It's about 2:02 now, so you add 16 hours to that. You know, to 2 o'clock in the morning is about 12. You add 4 more hours. 1, 12, 11, maybe 10, something like that. But this is what he said, and his mood at the time was neutral. But this is what he said. This is what DOS said on his opinion. This is basically his opinion on Ian Flynn's current state, the comics, etc. And this is what he said. And I quote, "For all of you reading this, everything will be spoken through my own personal insights of what I have gathered over the past few months. Everyone that knows me on here and any other sites know that I am an avid fan of Archie Comics' Sonic the Hedgehog, and I intend to remain mellow on the fact that one of the main supporting characters, Sally Acorn, is in a certain predicament. For everyone that doesn't know what this predicament," and he says certain predicament and predicament with quotes. For everyone that doesn't know what this predicament is, I would take the liberty and bring you up to speed. For everyone else that knows of this, skip down a few paragraphs." Excuse me. Continuing on, and I quote DOS. And I quote DOS. And I quote, "All right. This all takes place after the Iron Dominion saga. The issues I picked up after once I stopped reading where Shadow met Isaac, the golden E12 Gamma dude. And Eggman has basically come up with a master plot to destroy New Metropolis. Before her robotization, by golly, did Archie receive an ungodly amount of heat for another scene where Sally was gunned down off panel. Now this was a great scene to kind of bring forth Ian's dark, quote-unquote, dark atmosphere. He probably wanted the comic series, Now this was a great scene to bring, excuse me, I'm trying to read this correctly. Now this was a great scene to kind of bring forth Ian's quote-unquote dark atmosphere. He probably I'm so used to using a comma right there. I'm so used to seeing something like that. I apologize. Now this, let me restart here. Before her robotization, by golly, did Archie receive an ungodly amount of heat for another scene where Sally was gunned down off panel. Now this was a great scene to kind of bring forth quote-unquote Ian's dark atmosphere. Here, he probably wanted in the comic series from the start. Now I have to agree that the short Genesis series that followed shortly after, I bet the covers, which I thought were pretty awesomely drawn and colored, could be overlooked. After that, Sonic and Sally reach Eggman, and he reveals the plot to destroy New Metropolis, take into account the aboard the Death Egg MK2. By making the majority of the civilians Robians, and the ones that were already said roboticized and the ones that were already said roboticized would blow up due to the negating effects of an already roboticized character and the roboticizer. Confusing, I know, but it's best if you read the part yourself to get. Confusing, I know, but it's best if you read the part yourself to grasp it a little better. After Sonic distracts a new Silver Sonic, Sally crawls into the Death Egg's interior. And comes to some place, as some people that pay more attention to the setting because I suck at those parts, and negotiates with Nicole. This is not to be mistaken for being a shouted word. That's how they spell it. To override the systems, which would cause the cannon to malfunction, thus causing her to become roboticized. She sacrifices herself and emerges a roboticized version of herself. From there, Eggman disposed of Sonic. From there, Eggman disposed of Sonic, weaponized her, and put a power ring. He questions that in parentheses, to make sure she doesn't develop a free will, thus remaining under his control. After this initial process, she remains the iconic force that caused the Freedom Fighters to hesitate most of the time whenever they tried to attack Eggman's ship. But she was then downplayed to just a mere unit like Metal Sonic was. Now I will touch on the subject matter regarding the Mecha Sally issue that caused Archie to become under fire. Once fans saw this, I could count off numerous fan sites where fans were complaining out the asshole because she was roboticized. They went as far as making protests, which I thought was fairly obnoxious. I mean, look at the past history with Archie and roboticized characters. Uncle Chuck was roboticized, but was turned back to flesh and blood. Uncle Chuck was roboticized, but was turned back to his flesh and blood self, and so was for Loop, or so was Loop, or the same for Loop. As for Sonic's dad, well, that's because he chose not to be returned to his original form. But returning to the subject matter at hand, Archie more than likely received countless emails, letters in the mails. But returning to the subject matter at hand, Archie more than likely received countless emails, letters in the mail, phone calls, and the like from fans expressing their hatred for such a thing. I bet Archie played it off like it was nothing, which I think was a smart move. Call me crazy if you want. The reason why I think so is more or less due to the fact that they did not want to become... The reason I think so is more or less due to the fact that they did not want to become into the growing drama behind the Mecha Sally issue and just basically wanted to focus on the work at hand. Some may argue this by saying that they need to pay more attention to the fans. To this I say, to hell with you, quote unquote. Some may argue this by saying that they need to pay more attention to the fans. To this I say, quote unquote, to hell with you. There have been numerous comic companies out there that have listened to the fans, and the majority of the comics have been downplayed as not that great. Hell, even games, for that matter. Look at Mass Effect 3. Look at how much backlash they received by listening, quote unquote, by listening to the fans. The damn extended cut DLC, I admit, was enough to bring the fans to a consensus, but I did not expect them to change the ending one bit, not in the slightest. So BioWare has this huge niche on their shoulder from the fans they need to worry about. Drifting off the road here, need to maneuver my way back on. I'm particularly glad Archie remained on the quote-unquote, we did this our way to advance the plot, not your way and the way you think it should be. Because in all my knowledge, a majority of the fan crap I've seen on DeviantArt, fanfiction.com, although I do not navigate through there anymore, and any other fan site regarding stories about the Sega Archie characters and their own made-up stories just felt more to me of teenage drama, piss-poor dialogue that makes you laugh at it because it's that bad. Questionable storylines, I could go on and on. But I am remaining there for now. Now for everyone thinking the story of the comics is quote-unquote lagging a bit, you have to take into account that Ian is writing stories for a total of 4 comic books series being published right now. Those being Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Universe, Mega Man, and the New Crusaders. And from a radio broadcast that was posted on YouTube a month back, had him on air and was interviewed on the subject matter. Ian basically said that with him writing these 4 books, it has put a lot more stress. Ian basically said that with him writing these 4 books, it has put on a lot more stress and deadlines to meet than he just does to meet, and he just excuse me. He's got to correct his writing. No offense, DOS. Alright. Ian basically said that with him writing these 4 books, it has put a lot of stress on him and deadlines to meet, then he just does not have enough time to actually sit down and thoroughly think some of the plots through. I could be wrong. But he also pointed out that, quote unquote, it really isn't the end of the world if we change the status quo. What this is basically saying, quote unquote, chill the fuck out, let us do our things, it won't last long. Plus the part where Ian supposedly, quote unquote, hates everything, please go kill yourselves. No, I'm serious. Why in all the green grass on this planet would you even think of that? Man, overreactive kids these days. Yes, I said quote unquote kids. Because people around my age and older resemble them because of this stupid issue that just needs to be dropped. In all honesty, and not to bash at you longtime Archie Sonic fans, but you are starting to sound like high school girls about to start a fight with one another. You look like idiots. As for me, I remain mellow throughout this entire conflict because I love seeing things being taken into a new direction. Yes, I will speak my piece if it's bad, but if I do not see it that bad, I will not say a fucking word. Not a peep. This relates to the Archie versus fans issue remaining in active state to this very day. I've remained in the middle for as long as I could, but I have been forced to side with either side. No one has forced me to side with any side, but people these days will nitpick at the slightest things to bitch and moan about that I just cannot stand seeing. Nitpicking means regarding the comic. Nitpicking meaning regarding the comic. How Nick was given a redesign bashing Ian for horrible writing. Complaining how he is not even as good as Penders and crap like that. Seriously, do any of you have lives to live than to waste your time complaining about this? From what I could tell, Penders was too focused on furthering Knuckles' Echidna heritage and ancestors to even focus too much on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic. Plus, one of the reasons why he was kicked out of the writer's position was because he did not do video game adaptations unless he was forced to. Think I'm wrong? Then look back at his previous issues. His main focus, I think, was on the Echidna ancestors and guardians that came before Knuckles. Sonic the Hedgehog was main just as a side comic at the time to him. I mean, you can go on his forum and see he's trying to expand on his Echidna stuff with his Lawler Sue Chronicles. Now, I could be wrong about this a little bit, but I am personally thinking that this stupid court case he is involved in with Archie is just to fund enough money for the project to be released to the media. Why do I think? I do not even think it's going... Oh, what do I think? I do not even think it's going to I don't even think it is going to garner the attention he is aiming for. Even the people on there are bashing him because of it. I want to touch on Sally's redesign. I saw from numerous New York Comic Con photos I've seen on the web. I bet the first ones were atrocious in quality that I could not see even with my glasses on. Basically, they gave her a closed coat, vest, shorts, redesigned boots, gloves that resembled Amy Rose's but the ring is blue instead of yellow, a slightly different hairstyle, and removed the facial hair around her cheeks. Now I have told a bunch of people that I am still on the fence on the redesign because of numerous reasons. Numero uno. Numero uno being that she does not look like a leader like she did whenever she retained her original Satayam outfit. Secondly, and most strongly, it could be because Ian and the staff at Archie are trying to appease to the new audience as well, since this looks too obvious to pass up upon. Third, she just looks too young in the design. It could be me, but it looks like she lost 10 years with her design, ultimately making it look like an odd design for her to be with Sonic in their relationship. Could she be implemented into the video games with this redesign? Don't count on it. Honestly, if they had considered this, they would have put characters like Bunny Rabbit, Audie Coolett, and Trona Fiona into the game series already. So I will not be even looking for this. So I will not be even looking for this to even happen. So fanboys and girls out there, do not become so uppity about this because I honestly don't see it happening. Well, I thank everyone that has taken time to read this, and I seriously needed to remove that from my chest since it was nagging at me for the past 2 months now. So have a wonderful day, and I will be speaking to everyone soon. Alright, well first of all, DOS, no disrespect, but because I make mistakes too, there's no doubt about it, and so does my mom, but I think you need to reread before you send. No offense, because I know everybody makes mistakes, even me and my mom. But, you see, DOS, you bring up a subject too at the end there about the whole Sally redesign. Because I too believe, and you can read my thing, in fact I'll send it to you. You can even read what I have to say, and what I say basically is the same thing. It's for a new audience, a newer generation. And if you watch my vids, you'll kind of understand that that's exactly what they're aiming for. They're aiming for that new generation. They're aiming for that new generation that's out there. The newer, younger generation that when fans like me and you and everybody else moves on to other things, that generation, this current newer, younger generation, will be able to be there to carry the franchise along, carry the characters a part of this franchise, in game or not, in comic or not, along. So that's why I think they're doing it. I mean, personally, I have no problem with it because facially, you still see Sally. You know it, sir. As a matter of fact, somebody did a picture what's called a Generations picture where they had Sally and Bunny of Satayam, go through a star portal, and they're seeing the Archie selves, Bunny in her cowgirl outfit, and Sally with her new design. So, and Sally still looks old enough. I mean, I don't know why people think she looks younger and everything. That's just how Ben Bates draws things. Take a look at Amy Rose in my poster that I showed off in one of my videos and everything. And then and you can find it here on DeviantArt. She looks young. Okay. You take a look at, the way Ben Bates drew her even before then. It's like I mentioned, he made her look younger at times too, like she was 12 and 13. Even with Bunny. Bunny's supposed to be like 18, 19. She looks like she's 16 or 15. At times. You get what I'm saying? And besides, when Bunny got her redesigned to the cowgirl and barrettes and all that, no one complained. And because of one reason, she was able to switch back and forth. Able to switch back to her original design, with the barrettes, of course, included, but also go to the cowgirl outfit. So it wasn't that big of a deal, folks. And no one's complained about that cowgirl outfit since it came into being about what? Issue 1 something, 128 or 129 or something like that. No one said anything. No one said anything since then. So, and besides, it's also because they see him going back and forth. And I think, in my honest opinion, I'm pretty sure Archie's hearing about the reaction fans are giving to this right now. And they'll probably saying to themselves, you know what? We'll probably have to do with Sally what we've done with Bunny. We're going to have to go back and forth with her. We're going to have to go back and forth, you know, with her new design and her original design. And I think that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying it will, but I think, in my honest opinion, that may be strongly considered, you know, with the reaction people are giving to the design, because it's kind of half and half. But that's just a little bit of my response to what you had to say. And again, if you guys want to check out his site, check out his DeviantArt page. It's right here. Links down below. I appreciate if he responded back and anybody else wanted to respond back, video or comment rise. And that's all I'm going to say, and I'll talk to y'all later.